but we had some really good headliners. Again, like since 2016, we've had some really good headliners come through. And again, just going to be another alumni of headliners that's speaking at the Dick Tressel Clinic, one that kicks off the year. So with that being said, Coach Davies, you got him, man.
Thank you. It doesn't get a lot better liking me once you know me. So, we'll go from there. But I'm going to talk today about exactly what you see on the screen, throwing from broken and crowded pockets. I think that's a really important skill. I'll talk about why as we get into it, but just a little bit about me, so you got some context. I'm from New Jersey, as Coach said. Those are my parents. I used to have a lot better hair. My dad on the right for like 30 years would fly out to St. Paul, even though he lived in New Jersey, because he worked for Ecolab, which meant that he spent a lot of days driving around in a truck that looked like that, up and down the Jersey Turnpike, and working in places that looked like this. And he hated it for 30 years. So I feel incredibly fortunate, and I'm really, really blessed to get to do what I do for a living and to do something I love, and I'm really blessed to be here with you guys. So I appreciate everybody coming. Whether you play football the way that I've played football historically or you don't, I hope there's something, anything that you guys can take out of this that's going to make your program a little bit better. Just kind of my history here. So I was a player at Monmouth University out in New Jersey. I got my first coaching job at Princeton, where we broke the all-time Ivy League passing record. I was incredibly fortunate to work with a great staff there. Mike Willis, who was most recently my head coach out at Marist, was the tight ends coach, great guy. Andy Orrick, who's a St. Paul guy. Some of you guys might know his dad. He was the longtime head coach at Concordia Academy. Sean Gleason was the offensive coordinator, who's gone on to huge things. Bob Serace is still the head coach, and learned a ton from those guys about football, but also just about being a pro and how to approach your job and approach a job that we're really blessed to do. And then I bounced around. I went to St. Lawrence, where we had some success throwing the ball around. Franklin Pierce gets an asterisk because it was the very first year of football there. We started a Division II football program, so those records weren't really high, but they were still records. And then came on out here to Carleton, where, like Coach said, we were able to have some success and get a place that historically had not seen a lot of success. If you look at the previous 20 years before Tom Jernell and that whole staff got there, to the things that we were able to do. And Coach Jernell, I owe a ton to him. He's done a terrific job. If you guys have high academic kids on your teams, if you have kids who are 4.0 AP level students, give them a look, because that's a place that right down the street is essentially an Ivy League school where they could have a great career. And then out at Marist most recently, where we didn't have the season wins and losses that we would have liked to, but offensively, we scored more touchdowns and more points than they had the year before. We had more yards than they had the year before. We had less turnovers, and we had better red zone percentages. So basically every measurable stat on offense we were able to improve, despite the fact that we didn't have a ton of success wins and losses wise walking into a new situation there. So really enjoyed my time there. Wish I could have stayed, but life happens. And my wife's father, unfortunately, passed away unexpectedly during the season. So she's from here. She's from Minnesota, and we moved back here to be closer to her family. We love the area. We're thrilled to be back, and I'm excited to be a part of Minnesota football again and back here. So, throwing from crowded pockets and broken pockets. In 2021, I was out at a camp in North Carolina recruiting, and Phil Longo was the offensive coordinator there at the time. And he's talking to this group of quarterbacks, and he says, listen, guys, less than 50% of the throws in college football happen stationary from a clean pocket. And I said, no way. And then I went back and I watched our season, and I watched other people's seasons, and I said 50% might be understating it. And I bet that's even truer at the high school level. Almost none of your throws, especially in the biggest moments of games, are going to happen stationary from a clean pocket. You have got to be adept at handling crowded pockets and broken pockets if you're going to play this position. Because if you just look back through your own history of watching football, I bet a lot of your favorite moments happened like this. Plays that are certainly not stationary and certainly not from clean pockets. Can you operate in that environment? Or a look like this that we all probably remember watching. that is certainly not clean and certainly not stationary, and not a lot of the things that Johnny Manziel did were clean or stationary. And then you might be in the national championship game, and you might find yourself with a chance to win it in 6 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and you might be clean, but you're not stationary. Or you might be in the fourth quarter with 36 seconds left against a division rival trying to win the game, and you might be stationary, but it's not clean. So you might get one, you're almost never going to get both, and that's especially true in the biggest moments. So I had to really reflect after hearing that and figure out, okay, how are we going to rep this stuff? Because I wasn't. I was doing what everybody else was doing up to that point. In our individual in practice, we're taking 3-step drops and 5-step drops and, hey, step this way, step that way. So how are we going to rep these things and give kids the tools to succeed in those scenarios? Because it is going to happen. I really like this clip. Again, national championship game, 16 seconds left, down by 4. And this is how it so often happens in big moments. Jameis Winston doesn't even get hit here. But it's just muddy, right? There's just kind of arms and hands and bodies all around you. And you got to be able to stand in there and make that throw in a big moment. I promise you, if you go back and look at your own season, that most of the biggest plays in a game or a season, something that looks like that happened. And you've either been doing the work to equip your kid on how to handle it, or you haven't. And for a long time, I wasn't. And I would say all the things that we all say. I'd say, you got to stand in there, and you got to look down the barrel, and you got to. That's not something people are born with. It's a skill set that we have to help them develop. So I've worked really hard over the last 4 years at trying to do that. And what I've come down to is there's 3 basic pocket movements that everybody's going to do. And then while it's not a movement, the ability to throw from a crowded pocket is also a skill that you have to develop. But the 3 main movements, something I call creeping, slides and pedals, and escapes. And we'll get into all those in a second. But I want to start with crowded pockets because this comes up a lot. And I think it's really important that we're drilling this with guys. This is the most difficult one to drill, in my opinion, because if you really simulate a crowded pocket, if you really put, linemen and stuff around your kid, you're running the risk of a broken finger. And none of us want that. The thing that's different about quarterbacks and why people try and protect them is not because they're, more delicate than other positions. It's because a minor injury to another position is a major injury to them. If I jam my finger playing left guard, no sweat. If I jam my finger playing quarterback, I literally can't play the position anymore for the rest of the day. So that's why people try and protect them. So the ways that we've repped it, I try and always incorporate softer things because we're trying to simulate something like this, right? So I want to try and incorporate pop-up bags. Don't let your D-line coaches corner the market on pop-up bags. I think they're awesome for quarterbacks because, 1, they're a physical presence, and 2, they're soft. So even if he hits his hand on this right now, we're going to be okay. But this is a really simple drill. We would do it for 5 minutes a day, once a week, maybe twice a week in training camp, where we're just trying to simulate throwing the ball with just stuff around you. What can I put in the way? You can see I don't move. I stand right in the way. They got to shape it around me. I'm going to give it to them on different angles. And then we're going to start to layer the drill. We're going to make them move, right? Hey, step into it, and now the guard's in your lap. Step the other way, and now the guard's in your lap. I'll bring it on different angles. See, it hits the kid right here, right? He hits his hand on the top of it. Can you still make plays in those scenarios? Because in the biggest moments of your season, like 4th and 10 against Concordia here in the fourth quarter, down by 7, driving to win the game, you're going to have to make a throw in a picture that looks like this. And we can all think we're as smart as we want to be as coaches. This is inevitable, guys. This is going to come up in the biggest moments of your season. Can you throw with this stuff in front of you and deliver the ball accurately for a first down? Have I equipped you with the skill sets to succeed in those moments? Or here, again, 4th and 5 against Gustavus, who we never beat in my time at Carleton. They just beat them this year for the first time in 30 years. This is a really good team. 4th and 5, fourth quarter. Can you stand in there with your left tackle, or right tackle, getting thrown on the ground, and your right guard getting pushed into your lap, and the running back got knocked back? He's right in front of you. Can you stand in there in those moments and find a completion for a first down? Or this past year, down in Florida against Stetson, on a 3rd and 8. All the biggest moments in your season are going to happen this way. On 3rd and 8, when you got a guy coming clean off the edge, and you got number 11 here coming straight up the middle, look at the quarterback here with 11 falling in his lap. Can you stand in there in those moments? Do you have the skill set? Have we practiced the skill set? So I think that's really important, that you're doing those things. Some other drills that I do to try and work this, you can see we have the helmets off here. That's just for safety purposes. I don't want somebody to hit a finger and break a finger. So you might have to explain it to your head coach why the helmets are all off the quarterbacks in a drill. But we just take the helmets off, right? And I just run 2 guys at them. I have one guy make a move on all different patterns, and then I have one guy run right at him. Okay, and just put stuff in front of you. Next kid up, right? Guy off the edge. Another guy, and you see him touching him on the hip there. Okay, and that's something they added. Quite frankly, they were just being jerks. But I kind of like it. Get in there and touch the guy, right? Make it uncomfortable. Let him know somebody's there, because it's going to be that way in a game. And then you can rapid fire this stuff. Then we just have it come from the other way. I got to avoid the first guy. Boom. The other guy's right in the way. Ducking out of there so he doesn't get hit. These are going to be important, guys. This is 3rd and 8. 3rd and 7, against our arch rival at Carleton, against the Olies. 3rd and 7, fourth quarter, trying to ice the game. Hadn't beaten them in 9 years to this point. And here comes a free blitzer up the gut. Can you stand in there and make that throw? Have we repped those skills? Have we simulated that before? 3rd and 10, down in North Carolina, against Davidson. Again, guy coming free off the edge, beat us around on a speed rush. Pressure up the gut, collapsing the pocket. Can you stand in there in those cases and find a completion? So that's a really important skill, I think, is just being able to operate from those crowded pockets. This is another one. And the way I come up with these drills, so you guys know, is not very fancy. I just watch the games. I just watch our games and I say, okay, what sort of movement patterns came up for the quarterback today? Have I repped that? And if I haven't, then I add it to the drill list. So this is something that I noticed started coming up a lot more, which was having to throw off of a retreat. How many times you get a little pressure up the A-gap, or somebody wins late, and you got to just back out of there and get it to the back on a check down. These don't have to be 50-yard completions. But are we repping those skills? Because they're going to come up in games. 3rd and 11 here. Again, against St. Olaf in 2023. All-out blitz. Not all out, but still bringing some blitz. 3rd and 11, right on the fringe. You're going to see number 3 here. Okay, watch. This is our quarterback. And then watch this guy coming through. You're going to see number 3 have to back himself off the screen because he's getting pressure right up the gut. I got to retreat a little bit, and can I still deliver the ball? Or here against Drake. So this isn't a 3rd down. This is 2nd down. But again, still in a critical part of the field, right on the fringe. And how many plays have we all seen like this? We're going to fake a bubble. We're going for the double move. It's not there. Okay, can we make a positive play out of this? Or are we going to scramble and throw it out of bounds? Well, this kid wins late in the protection because we're holding the ball for a downfield concept. And now what are we going to do? All right, I got to back up. I got to retreat. And can I still find a completion? Now this one goes for a first down, which is great. But even if it went for 2 yards, if it went for 3 yards, can we just keep the ball moving forward in these circumstances? There's nothing worse for a defensive coordinator than they've got you, they covered it, they're bearing down on you at the end. It's going to be at least 0 yards. Ah, shoot, they made 3 yards. It's 3rd and 3. Ah, shoot, they made 4 yards. It's 3rd and 2. Here in the red zone, coming off a bootleg, off of just some speed sweep action. free rusher in our face. Can you retreat and make the throw? How many times in your career have you seen a kid on a bootleg just barely get the throw off and it goes for a huge play? And you were inches away as a defensive coach from an incompletion or a sack. These are back-breaking sorts of plays if we can give you the skills to make them. And they come up in the biggest situations. So I think that's a great place to start, is being able to operate in crowded pockets. Creeping. Creeping's the first movement we'll talk about. That's just a steady climb in the pocket. The key points when you're talking about creeping, back foot, back shoulder. So just having a good base, having my back foot under my back shoulder at all times when I'm moving. Ankles in the ground is basically the way I talk about just being in a good posture. So if I were standing straight up and you said to me, bend your knees, I might do this and put myself in a bad posture as a quarterback. If I'm standing up and you said, hey man, I just want you to take your ankles and try and drive them into the ground a little bit, I just kind of do that, and now I'm in a really good posture as a quarterback. I'm slightly bent. So I think it's just a little bit more precise language, in my opinion. It works for our guys. And then 2 hands on the ball, which is critical. You've got to have 2 hands on the ball at all times. We can't turn the ball over at the quarterback position. That's unacceptable. It's going to happen on interceptions inevitably, and a lot of those aren't even going to be your fault. But fumbles can't happen. That's our fault. So this is a good look at creeping. This is a very simple drill. We're just going to have him working up. He's got a receiver on both sides, and he's going to work towards me. You can see he's got back foot, back shoulder. Ankles are in the ground. He's in a good posture. He's got 2 hands on the ball, and then I'm going to direct him towards one or the other. Next kid here, again, you can see he's staying in a good posture the whole time. Back foot behind his back shoulder, ankles in the ground. Make the throw. Nice and easy. We're not making huge throws. These are pretty low intensity drills. And then we just start layering it. We just start adding movements. So now we're going to incorporate a drop, trying to keep my back foot under my back shoulder the whole time I'm dropping. I don't want to reach for a bunch of grass. We play out of the shotgun. How much deeper do you need to get in your drops? We're already 5 yards back. Keep your back foot under the back shoulder. Turn it into a creep, back foot, back shoulder. And then we don't have a receiver to throw it to here, but you can see the simulated throw. Same idea here, just incorporating a drop. Kid at the top of the screen is practicing a back pedal drop, which is something I let the guys do if they feel fit. And then boom, we're creeping, 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 not clicking our heels, keeping our back foot under our back shoulder, ankles in the ground, and then just adding a movement to it. Trying to add layers to all of the drill work. This is how it would look in practice. So if you watch number 3 here, who was our starter at the beginning of the year and then got hurt. So we're just running a little 4 verticals here. He hits the top of his drop. There's a speed rusher, and I'm going to creep. Very subtle. These aren't always big movements. I'm just going to creep, 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 ball. Okay, again in practice here, number 8, little speed rush off the edge. I just creep, 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 steady climb in the pocket. This one's a little more drastic. Find some space, deliver the ball. Kind of combining the crowded pocket nature of that one there also. And then in games, again, guys, big moments. 3rd and 6 here against Bethel, who played in whatever, the semifinal this year, and was really good the year before, and really good the year before, and really good every year. So in a big game, in a big moment, 3rd down around midfield, chance to keep a drive alive. Here come 2 speed rushers off the edge. We're running a little clear out and a dig. Okay, how are we going to behave here? Well, just nice and subtle. Creep, creep, creep. Steady climb. Deliver the ball. Okay, a couple years ago, right outside here at Kloss Field. Again, 3rd down, 3rd and 5. Number 1 here, and just right there. Little creep, 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 creep. All right, little step up, very subtle. These don't have to be drastic movements, but just finding that open space in the pocket. So that's creeping. Slides and pedals. This is the second version of quarterback movement that you see on a daily basis, and they're kind of the same. That's why I put them together. These are sudden lateral movements. The same 2 main points. We want to have a good posture, have our ankles in the ground, and have two hands on the ball, play a little open. So what I mean by that is this. I'm right-handed. So if I'm playing open as a right-hander, if this is the middle of the field, okay, the goalpost is right out there. Right now, I am closed to the middle of the field. When I say open, I'm referring to where my chest is pointing. So I'm closed to the middle of the field. And there's nothing wrong with that. You want to have your shoulders pointed and stuff when you're playing quarterback. When I'm moving in the pocket, I want to play a little open. I want to be, if I'm a right-hander, pointed a little left. The reason for that is this. I don't know where somebody's going to come open. So if I have to slide to my left and somebody comes open over there to the right, it's not very difficult on my dominant side to just pull my shoulder closed and make the throw. Everybody does this every day in warm-up drill, right? You've all seen quarterbacks doing this. So I can do that. That's easy. The difficult thing is to my backside. So I want to play a little bit open so that if I move, somebody comes open over there, I'm not closed to that. Or even if I have to move this way. If I'm here and I have to move here, somebody comes open over there. As long as I'm a little open, I can still make a throw over. I'm not closed to that. So that's what I mean by play a little bit open. I think that's really important. So you can see here, we got the pop-up bag out again. I like the pop-up bags. They're a visual cue. They're a physical object instead of me just saying go this way. Because in the game, the defensive lineman doesn't say, hey, you should slide to your left, right? The defensive lineman just comes flying in, and you got to adjust. So I like that. And then I like how it gets back in the way. Because I taught for years and years and years, right? Hey, take one step to avoid a rush. Well, that's a little disingenuous. Yeah, take one step to avoid some rushes, but it might take 2 steps. It might take 3 steps. This is an imperfect game. It's an imperfect world. Screws fall out of all the time. So you have to move as much as you need to move to get the hell away from the guy that's trying to tackle you. So if that thing's going to come back and hit me, that's a cue to the quarterback. Oh, I should have moved a little further. But you can see I'm going to step around the bag slightly. I play a little open, and I find my target. Same thing going to his right. Now you can see he moves a little further to get away from the defensive lineman and find the target. 2-lining it here in camp. I think this is a great way to save some of your receivers' legs in the middle of training camp when they're running a lot. Just give them some drills where they can stand still and other people can get great work. But I'm going to step around the bag. Boom, I'm going to avoid it this way. The movements are not scripted. The movements are imperfect because that's how a game happens. You might have to take 3 pedals to get out of there. You might have to take 2 slides to get out of there. This is how it would look in practice. So we're in empty. We're going to get some pressure off the right side. We don't have it picked up. We've got a little switch verticals concept going on here. And you're going to see number 3 just sort of slide out to his left. Just, okay, I'm going to take 1 slide. Imagine there's a pop-up bag right here. He's just going to slide around it by just enough time to get the throw off. Now he's going to get hit in the game, but he's going to get the throw off. Or here, biggest moments of your season, 4th down and 6 against Augsburg. And I'm going to, with a free rusher coming around my right guard, I'm going to slide around that guy and make the throw. And then we'll just layer it. We'll add a drop and a creep. So this is the same drill as before. We're going to drop, we're going to creep, and now we're just going to finish with a slide. Okay, get around the bag. Slide as much as you need to. You can see he takes 2 or 3 there. As much as you need to, deliver the ball. Slide off of a drop and a creep, deliver the ball. Nice job by 14 here. See his shoulders? See how he's pointing a little to his left? Now, obviously, we're throwing the ball there in this drill, but that's the posture that we're looking for. A guy who's playing a little bit open, he could still throw the ball back this way if he needed to. Now going to the right. Okay, again, ankles in the ground, 2 hands on the ball. Move as much as you need to avoid. Drop, creep, as much as you need to avoid. I'm around, ball. Here against the Gusties, it's 3rd down. They've got 11 guys walking around the box. How are we going to handle this situation? We're going to get some pressure through the A-gap. You can see the quarterback here seeing color leaking in the A-gap. He's got something coming here, or that guy's pretty secure, excuse me. We got some leakage right there. So I'm just going to slide and find a completion. Here, pressure off the backside. Okay, we're going to get a slot blitz at the top of the screen. Watch the quarterback here. Okay, oh, I'm just going to slide ever so slightly, find a completion. And then we'll just layer it up, right? Now we'll include 2 slides. So now I avoided the first one, which is number 8 there, and then I got to react to the bag. Because defenses don't scheme up plays where they're just going to get one defensive lineman in the backfield. I've never heard a defensive line coach tell 3 guys to take a play off and 1 guy to rush. We're not going to play ISO basketball. They're all going to rush you. So you might have to avoid one guy and then another guy. Step to the right. Okay, I avoided the first. Now I'm around the second. You can see, again, I'm pointing a little bit to my left. I'm playing a little bit open. This is bad, in my opinion. This is a bad rep of this drill because 12 here, who's a talented kid, he's too closed. He's not playing a little bit open. And so he's trying to throw the ball back to a guy a little bit this way, and he's making it really hard on himself. See how he has to swing his back leg around? Because he's not playing open, and this ball ends up going low on him, which is what happens when you cut off your front side. Okay, 8 here. That's a good job. See how I'm movement? He's a little bit open. And I stay a little bit open. I have 2 hands on the ball. We got to fix this at the top. His target line for his throw is not very good. We're trying to throw it to this guy. But the movement initially was good. So watch number 8 here from far away. All right. But he thinks he's getting some leakage off his left. So he goes one way, other way, deliver the ball. All right. I'm over, up, ball. See it from the tight. Over, up, ball. And then we'll work against the grain because this stuff comes up too. So now we'll drop, we'll creep. I have to avoid to my right and throw back to my left. Avoid to my right, throw back to my left. And you might say, well, that's not really sound teaching if we're throwing back across our body and doing that kind of stuff. It is if they can do it. It is if they're talented enough to execute it consistently. And I've been very lucky to have some really talented quarterbacks. We've worked our butts off from recruiting. But everybody can do something. I have some clips on here you're going to see that are ridiculous because the kids are very talented and they're able to make ridiculous movements and chuck the ball 60 yards, and they're good football players. But you might have a kid who can do it 5 yards. That's great. You might have a kid who can do it 10 yards. That's great. As long as he's self-aware enough to only attempt those throws, you're in business. So here it is against the Ole's, backed up. It's 2nd and 15. It would be great to not be in 3rd and 15. Nobody's open. I got to scramble out to my right, and then I find a completion back to my left. Same thing the other way. Drop, creep, slide, working back across the green. Just like here against the Gusties, I slide over to my left, right, ever so slightly. These movements are not all drastic, but I slide to my left, and I find a completion back to the right for 6-7 yard gain. Keep the ball moving forward. And then just some other ways that we'll layer the drills. I try to add touch throws into the drill. I don't always want it being a line drive. So can you move and throw it with some touch? Can we work on different types of throws and layer our drills up that way? Move, add some touch. Just different ways you can expand upon some basic drill work at the quarterback position. And then pedals. So pedals are the same thing, but they're continual. So a slide is one movement, right? I'm going to stop. A pedal stays on the move, but the principles are all the same. So this is a pedal. If you watch number 14 here, I always try to incorporate quarterback movements into other people's drill work. I think it's a cheap way to steal some time. So we're just doing run the line with the running backs. This was intended to be just a running back ball skills drill. You might do this with receivers or whoever. That's great. This is an awesome drill. You can never throw and catch enough footballs in practice. but add some layers to it. Add some quarterback movement to it. So this is a pedal. I stay on the move. My back foot's under my back shoulder, 2 hands on the ball, ankles in the ground. Pedal, pedal, pedal. Pedal, pedal, pedal. Same general movement, but now I'm staying on the move. This is how it would look in a game. Quarterback felt like he was getting some color off the right side. He wasn't here, but he felt like he was. So I'm just going to pedal out to my left and find a completion. Okay, here we go. 3rd down in the red zone against Hamlin. Again, he felt like he was getting some color here. We had it picked up, but he felt like he was getting some color. So I just pedal, find a completion. They're not all pretty, but we're keeping the ball moving forward. And then escapes. These are the sexy ones. These are the highlights. You're going to put this on the SportsCenter top 10. There's 2 types of escapes. An escape is where you break the pocket entirely. And you can either escape out or you can escape up. And I'll start by talking about escaping out. When you escape out of the pocket, the thing that you have to understand at the quarterback position, more importantly than anything else, is you are on your time. The moment I get out of the pocket, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. Because at least in college, I don't know if this is the rule in high school, but in college, I can now throw the ball away. As long as I can get the ball back to the line of scrimmage and somewhere, and I can make a reasonable argument that there was going to be a receiver there, I can throw it away. So if I have to lose 15 yards to get away from the rush, I'll lose 15 yards, as long as I can still get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. If I have to lose 1, I lose 1. I don't care. This is an imperfect game. Do what you got to do to get the hell away from the guys who are trying to tackle you. We'll figure the rest out later. But you should never rush a throw when you're out of the pocket. If you're not ready to throw it, don't throw it. I don't care if the guy's open. If you're not ready to make a good throw, just buy more time. Keep running. Because the worst thing that can happen is you flick it out of bounds for 0 yards. So again, with the pop-up bag, just trying to give a visual stimulus. I really like this drill. You can add more people to it. We only have 2 here. But the general idea is quarterback here. He's going to react to the bag and get out, either backing around or up and out. And then the receiver can do anything he wants. The receiver can jog, he can sprint, he can go deep, he can come short, he can pick any angle he wants at any tempo he wants, because that's how the game's going to happen. So we get out, we're staying on the move, deliver the ball. This time around the back, stay on the move, deliver the ball. To our left here, a little bit of shaky cam. Get around, lose as many yards as you need to. Get around, deliver the ball. Up and around this time, cutting the camera a little tight. Deliver the ball. Yeah.
On the escape out drill, coach, do you encourage them to try to attack downfield while throwing? Or
We're going to get to that in a second, actually. Yeah. In a perfect world, your kid is always going to get back downhill when he throws the ball. The problem is that despite my constant objections, defensive coaches get paid too. And so they're not going to let us just get out there and run downhill, right? So we got to be able to make some throws off different paths as well. Yep, good question.
So this is how it would look in practice. Okay, number 3 here. Again, we're obviously we're misassigned here. We get hot off the left side. Boom, I'm out. Don't blow plays dead in practice, ever. Let the ball get thrown. I don't care if they have the quarterback wrapped up. Let him go and let him throw the ball. You're wasting reps on other people, and these sorts of plays are going to happen for you and against you. Every defensive coach in here, I bet, has had this has been on the wrong side of a play like this at some critical point in the game. Practice it. Let the play go. Stay on the move, right? Find somebody down the field. That was actually quarterback-to-quarterback violence there. To the left this time. So you see we drop the snap. Okay, now we're scrambling around. We escape out. Receivers stay on the move. Our scramble drill rules are really, really simple. Rule number 1, if you're open, stay open. That's the cardinal rule of our scramble drill. If you're open, stay open. If you're not open, Then we want deep guys to try and come back. We want underneath guys to try and go deep, and we want anybody on the backside to get in the quarterback's vision. But it's not something that we overcoach. We just get a bunch of reps at it. Because when the snap gets dribbled back in practice, we don't blow it dead. We pick it up and we scramble, and we get a useful rep out of that. And you might be thinking, well, I mean, come on. Ball dribbling on the ground, picking it up, getting out of the pocket, that would never happen in a game. Well, in the fourth quarter against Bucknell, in a non-conference game, one score at this point, ball dribbling on the ground. Pick it up, scramble, find a completion. Now, that's a sick throw, okay? I understand that. I understand not every kid can make that throw. But my larger point is these imperfect sort of plays happen all the time. Against the Tommies here, again, the biggest moments of your season. 3rd and 10, fourth quarter, driving to stay in the game. Here come one of those million defensive line movements that they have. And we're going to get out, we're going to stay on the move, and we're going to find a completion down the field. Later in that same game, here come the Tommies. I'm going to escape up, I'm out, and I'm going to find a completion on a weird angle down the field. Now, can everybody make that throw? No, they can't. I understand that. But I bet you've got a kid who could have thrown it to this kid. Against Hamlin here, not to pick on Chip, from a couple years ago. Okay, I'm a terrible offensive coordinator. I call the 3-man route into an 8-man drop. That's going to happen. You're going to call bad plays. Do your kids have the skill set, and does your quarterback understand that, hey, man, you got to at least get me back to 0. I'm going to call a couple bad plays every game. Can you at least make it, can you take a negative and make it a positive, ideally, or can you at least take a negative and make it neutral? So this kid makes it a positive here. He gets out of the pocket. You can see he's going to retreat. Okay, lose ground. Take as much time as you need. You're on your time. Scramble drill happens. Find a completion. Touchdown.
Ouch.
Or down on the goal line. Okay, we ran a little, just a slant pattern here. We thought we'd get wide open. We didn't. That's life. It's an imperfect game. Plays don't go the way we want them to go. Can we take a negative and make it a positive? Losing ground as we escape out so that we stay away from the defense. Okay, against Valparaiso, sometimes you get an 8-man protection going and it still doesn't work. Okay, I laugh all the time. We talk about, we have our game plan meetings and our off-season meetings about pass protection. And we go, oh man, how are we gonna handle pass protection? Are we gonna add more guys to the protection, get stuff picked up? They're bringing all these blitzes. I said, guys, blitzes aren't what sack you. Your left guard getting thrown on the ground is what sacks you versus a 4-man rush. Blitzes, you scramble, you dump it, or you run for 3 yards, whatever. I'd rather teams blitz us. The worst is when they bring 3- and 4-man rushes and they collapse your center and they sack you. That's how you get sacked. I'm not worried about the blitzes. We'll get those picked up. I'm worried about the 4-man rushes. So we got 8 guys in the friggin' protection here, and our center gets beat. Uh-oh. You can't add a lot more guys to the protection than 8. So we're out of the pocket. I wish we had 2 hands on the ball. That's the one thing I don't like about this clip. But I'm going to lose some ground. I'm going to get into space. I'm going to find a completion down the field. Number 1 here. Again, 7-man protection. Running back in a tough matchup. Gets beat. I'm around. Lose as much ground as you need to get away from this guy. I don't care if he loses 20 yards right here. As long as he still is capable of getting that thing to the line of scrimmage out of bounds for 0 yards, we're good. You do what you got to do to get away from the people who are trying to hurt you. Now, back to your question. Defensive coaches get paid too. So they're not just going to let us scramble. They're going to force us to either pull up or they're going to force us flat. Okay, that's what they're trying to do. They're going to bring some sort of secondary contain. And we got to drill that also. So this is what a pull-up looks like. This is a little bit of cheating because this is a Hail Mary. So it's a designed pull-up. But you can see the general idea. 14 is going to scramble out, and then he's going to pull up. It's like a jump stop in basketball. So that's a pull-up. This is how we beat Concordia in 2021. It was awesome. This was the first time in 30 years. So, expanding on the drill from before. I got the quarterback, I got the bag, I got the receiver. This kid can do whatever he wants. If what he wants to do is not move, that triggers a pull-up. So if he just stays still, the quarterback has to pull up. So we're around, he stayed still, I jump stop, pull up. Don't have the pop-up bag here, but same idea. You can see our receivers off in the distance. I'm out, he stayed still, I pull up. So here we go, third down. The biggest moments of your season are not going to be clean and they're not going to be stationary. And your sprint out, which we have called here, is not going to go the way you thought it was going to go. It's just not. The sooner you accept that, the better. So we have to rep the messy stuff. So we're running sprint out smash, America's favorite sprint out play. They bring edge blitz with him and the safety and maybe the corner. I can't exactly tell what was going on here, but that's football sometimes. So we're sprinting out. Oh, snap. They've got the edge on me here. So I got to sprint out, pull up, find a completion. Against St. Scholastica from a couple years ago, we're sprinting out to the right. They're bringing edge blitz. Bad call by me. Sprint out into edge blitz, that's a tough look. Can you at least get me back to 0? Can you take a negative and make it a positive or at least a neutral? Can I pull up and find a completion? They're not all pretty. They're not all bombs. They're not all touchdowns. But they keep the ball moving forward. Against the Tommies here, little misdirection bootleg. Number 6 didn't bite. Damn it, we thought he'd bend the line. He didn't. Get around, pull up, ball. Out to the left, same drill, same visual cues, same idea. Around to my left, pull up, ball. Against Concordia here, design bootleg to the left. Oh, snap. Here comes secondary contain, pull up, ball. Not pretty. I wouldn't put this on, if I was going for the prettiest plays, I wouldn't put this on the clinic tape. But that's the thing about football. It's not the pretty plays that win the game. And then flatten and retreat is the other thing they'll force you to do. So if they can't get you to stop completely, they're going to try and stop you from getting back downhill. So this is what that would look like. So this is 3rd down and 7. We call a little pocket movement here. We're out of the pocket. Here comes secondary contain. They're not just going to let you run. They're not going to let us get downhill. They're going to force you to either flatten out or retreat. So on 3rd and 7, when I'm forced to see that right there by the quarterback, when I'm forced to flatten out, can I still find a completion? Okay, very fearsome secondary contain right here. I'd be pretty scared of me too. But I can't get back downhill. Can I stay flat and find a completion? Same exact drill, just adding layers to it. I'm around. Okay, now I'm forcing him to retreat a little bit. Find a completion. I'm around. Force him to retreat. Find a completion. Here it is in practice. Okay, watch number 8 here. I'm around. Uh-oh. Here comes secondary contain. Everybody's got one. Who's the pull-up guy, as we call it? He's not going to let me get back downhill. Not without a good shot. So can I stay flat and find a completion? 4th down. Biggest moments of your game. Nobody's open. I got to scramble. Here comes a D lineman chasing me. I can't get back downhill. I got to stay flat. Can you do that and find a completion? And again, I understand 14's a really good player. Not everybody can make this throw. I bet they can make this one. There are guys open on these plays. And you have to rep it in practice so that your kid knows what he's capable of and what he has access to. Against Davidson here, I'm up, I'm out, uh-oh. Secondary contain, better stay flat. I'm moving around. This is a great clip here. I'm trying to get downhill. You can see I'm trying to get downhill. Watch this corner. This kid's not going to let it happen. I'm going to force you to flatten out. Are you practicing these movement patterns? I wasn't for a really long time. And then I would just get pissed when we didn't make the play. And it was my fault. I wasn't working on it enough with them. This is another drill we do for this. I call this our Mahomes drill. So this is about being able to separate your lower and your upper half. It's an important skill for doing this. So when I can't get back downhill, when I'm not able to get my lower body moving towards my throw, two things happen. One, I have to be able to generate torque to make the throw. I've got to throw my chest at him, is what we say. I have to overcompensate with my upper body because my lower body's not helping. The second thing you have to understand when you're making these sorts of movements is anytime your lower body is disconnected from your upper body throwing the ball wants to sail on you. And you've got to know that going into it. It wants to sail on you. So I'm stationed, you can't quite see me, but I'm right on this line. And they're going to go past me, flat, and then throw their chest at me and flip the ball back inside. Very low intensity drill, as you can see. Nice and easy. And then you just build on it. You start making it a little deeper and a little harder. Here's the kids at Marist doing it. Pass the target, throw it back inside. Pass the target, throw it back inside. Pass the target, throw my chest at him, generate some torque with my upper body, throw it back inside. Going the other way. Again, real easy drill you can do during special teams if your quarterbacks aren't involved in special teams. You don't need equipment. You don't need that many people. Just nice, easy stuff. And it gives you plays like this. So if you watch 12, okay, and 12 was special now, so some of his throws are sick. But he's going to get out to his left. Here comes a guy, believe it or not, running into this window here. And he's going to throw his chest at him, generate some torque with his upper body, and get that thing back across the green. It's sound if they can do it. Okay, number 8 here. Our lefty, I'm getting chased. This kid uncovers inside. That's fine. I've done my Mahomes drill. I can flip that back into you. In game action, 2nd and 5 here. We're out of the pocket. Okay, I'm running. Everybody's running with me. Number 1 rule of scramble drill. If you're open, stay open. So 11 just stays right where he is and gets the ball. Watch the tight. Quarterback's around. Mahomes drill. Back inside. 3rd and 3. These will be big moments in your games. I'm out. I'm getting chased. This kid's coming back down his stem. Mahomes drill. Also some natural ability on this one. All right, I'm forced out. I play a little open. See how his chest is open? I play a little open on the move. I get that ball back inside. 4th and 11. Out in St. Peter. Playing the Gusties. I'm up. I'm out. It's 4th down, man. We better get this thing thrown. You better not take a sack or throw it away on 4th down. You got to throw it to somebody. There's no room here. This kid's going to break back in. He's telling him to break back in. We're a half yard short, didn't get it. But it was a cool catch. All right, I'm around. I flip that thing back in. Mahomes drill. In the red zone, I'm out of the pocket. Back into number 16 there. This was almost my favorite clip of all time, but we drop it. But 3rd and 9, speed rusher. I'm up. I'm out. Now I'm on my time. I'm playing a little open. These kids aren't going to let me get back downhill. So now I got to get out, I got to flatten, and I got a Mahomes. Drop that one. And then just making it more difficult. Keep adding degrees of difficulty. Now they'll start bailing because teams are going to force you to retreat. So what can you do? Let's find out. Let's find out how far we can stretch these guys. Let's find out, okay, he made that throw accurately. Back him up 10 yards. Okay, he made that throw accurately. Back him up 10 yards. How far can we push it? What does he have access to in the game? And now we're combining all the drills, right? Now we got the bag. We're around. Here's the rush. I'm going to force him to retreat. He's got a receiver who's going to pick whatever angle he wants, deliver the ball. Okay, here it is. Boom, I'm out of the pocket. This guy's going to force me to retreat. 8 did not have a great arm. 8 couldn't make the throws 12 could make. He can't throw it to this kid right now, but he can throw it here. What can your kid handle? And you don't know it until you practice it, and they don't know it until they practice it. But there are yards to be had out there on these sorts of completions. I think this is a great clip. So here comes the defensive end. We blew the protection. He's going to force me to bail, and I dump it to the back in the flat. And you say, well, you made 2 yards. Yeah, we made 2 yards. The ball's moving forward. Again, a practice clip. I'm out. Here it comes. This happens all the time on scrambles, right? You get out. Your tackle loses track of the DN because the DN can see the quarterback and the tackle can't. And so he starts chasing him. And I wish we had 2 hands on the ball. This doesn't make the ball security clinic. But I bail, find a completion right at the bitter end. Against the Olies, I'm out flat. Here he comes. I got to bail. I'm on my time. I'm not going to throw the ball before I'm ready because I can always just flip it out of bounds. So nobody's open. I bail. At the last second, my running back turns around, and we get a completion. 2nd and 10 turns into 2nd and 3. 3rd and 8. We're around. Here comes secondary contain, flying in like a banshee. I got to retreat. And this kid had a special arm, so he was able to make some throws that other people weren't. Okay, against the Tommies, down in the red zone, trick play. You see Coach Caruso here on the sideline, about to call timeout. Thankfully he didn't. So we sprint. Trick play, guys. All the blockers are over here. Ain't nobody blocking that guy. That's your job. So I bail, I retreat, and I find a completion. Touchdown to take the lead going into half. 4th and 1 against Lafayette, who was the number 14 team in the country. Not QB sneaking in against all those 6'5" guys. We better find a way to get this 4th and 1. Fake it, around, little misdirection. This kid didn't buy it. I got to retreat, find a completion. And then going left, and again, just adding layers. How many different ways can we stretch this drill? And you might say, well, you're really going to let a kid throw it, bailing backwards to his left? If he can do it, I am. If he can't do it, that's a different conversation. But if he can do it, sure. What's sound is just what they're capable of. 2nd down here, I'm around. Okay, here comes this guy, here comes this guy. I got to flatten out a little, find 21. 1st down. Bless you. And then this actually, the quarterbacks came up with this one. We were doing all this retreating stuff. And they said, I think it'd be easier if we just pedal, flip into a pedal. Because, everybody can throw the ball like this. It's harder to throw the ball like that. And so they said, hey, when we do this, when I go out to my left and I'm getting retreated, can I just flip into a back? Is that okay? Well, yeah, sure, let's try it. I'll try anything in practice. That's what practice is for. They get out, we go, and they start backpedaling. We found it to be actually a much better way to accomplish this movement. So I'm out, and then I just flip into a back pedal when I'm forced to retreat to my left. A little easier for the guys. I'm out to my left, and I flip into a back pedal, and that's going to look like this. So against who's it? St. Olaf again, 3rd and 10, the biggest moments of your game. I'm out. Here comes secondary contain. These guys aren't stupid. We run this play a lot. I flip into a pedal, and I find a completion down the field. Against Davidson, again, a designed boot. Here comes secondary contain. I can't get back downhill. It's not a perfect world. I wish it were. I flip into a pedal. And again, obviously, this kid was pretty good. Okay, freshman here. 2nd down, I'm around. Uh-oh, that didn't go the way I planned it. Flip into a pedal, find a completion. Flip into a pedal, find a completion. 3 was pretty good too. The key to being a good quarterback coach, I found, is just having good quarterbacks. That's a really good start. Again, against the Tommies. Okay, here comes pressure. I flip into a pedal, and I find the completion. Really useful skills to have in critical moments, especially in short yardages. And then lastly, escaping up. So this is when you got to scramble up in the pocket. What's different here is you're no longer on your time. That's the biggest difference when you start escaping up, guys, is everything I said about lose as much ground as you want, take all the time, you're on your time, no longer true. Because there's this thing called the line of scrimmage, and you're approaching it quickly. Also, when you scramble up, you're not in space. You're surrounded by bodies now. The defensive line's all around you. So don't slow down. Don't pump fake, because you don't know where that defensive lineman behind you is. And then the ball comes out now or not at all, because you're going to be across the line. So again, pop-up bag. All right, I'm up, boom, ball's out. I'm up, ball's out. Playing a little open, getting my chest open to the middle of the field. Working against the grain. Okay, I don't care that this kid's in the way. People are going to be in the way in the game. Working against the grain. Anytime your momentum is not going in the direction of your throw, the ball wants to sail on you. You've got to fight to keep that thing down. You can rapid fire this during a special teams period. Move the receivers around. Make your guys go different directions. This is how it looks in a practice. Watch 12 here. I'm scrambling up. There's my completion. In a game, 14, drop, up. There's my completion. 12 here. Number 8. You guys get the sense of this, right? Real easy drill, real low intensity, rapid fire, easy on the receivers. Boom, I'm scrambling up. There's my completion. There's not as many game clips of scrambling up because usually they just turn into scrambles. Usually you just end up keeping it, which is great too. I'll take those yards. But here on 3rd and 7, I'm forced up. Find a completion. Okay, and then just adding some touch to it, layering the drills, incorporating different types of throws. Do the same drills, but make them throw some touch. But this is how most scramble ups, and these will be the last few clips. These are how most scrambles up go. Usually when you scramble up, the kid just takes off, and that's fine. Those yards count too. Okay, here, 4th and 3. All the biggest moments in your season are going to happen this way. Step up, get on the move, go make some yards. Again, against Valpo, 3rd and 10. And I didn't go out of my way trying to find, I know it's been a million third and fourth down clips for this cut up. I didn't go out of my way to find those. It wasn't even that hard. I bet if you look back at your own season, it's the same thing. 3rd and 16. I got to step up. Could we have probably thrown this to 89? Yeah, but again, most escapes up just turn into scrambles because there's a reason that you're scrambling up. There's nobody there. Oh, and then the last thing, I'll show this one last clip here, or 2 last clips here. When you're scrambling, guys, when you're scrambling outside, so when I'm scrambling here and here, I don't like this when I'm scrambling up, but when you're scrambling on the outsides, you should just always pump fake. Whether there's somebody there or not, whether there's a receiver or not, just always pump fake. Because the defender doesn't know that. There's no receiver. 14 scrambling out here. There's nobody for him to throw it to. This kid doesn't know that. So he pump fakes, and what does that kid do? He jumps. They just can't help themselves. There was that really good defensive line talk earlier today about, we want to get our hand up if we're not going to get to the quarterback. They can't help themselves. You're on the move, you pump fake, they're going to jump. And if they don't jump, then you probably got somebody open. But here, boom, I'm out to the left. Okay? This kid doesn't know what's going on, but I pump fake, he backs way up thinking he's covering somebody. There's nobody there, but he doesn't know that. He just saw the quarterback pump. And now you can take off. All right, I'm out. I pump fake just for fun. Look at the defender here. All right, you pump fake, he jumps. I make a first down. So I think that stuff is really important. And I think if you didn't already, if you go back and you look at just your own season, I think you're going to find a lot of clips that look a lot like that. And it was always really important to me, I don't know why that keeps playing, it was always really important to me that we were giving our kids the skills to succeed under those circumstances. Whether they can make the 60-yard throw or the 6-yard throw doesn't matter to me. As long as we've worked on it and they know which throw they can make and they know which throw they shouldn't. But if they can make it, who am I to stop them? Any questions?
Then do you treat your quarterback room differently? I mean, if you've got the 10-yard completion uncovered or the 25-yard that's slightly guarded, but only one of your quarterbacks can do it, do you treat your quarterbacks differently, or you try to be consistent in your quarterback room?
No, we're very open about everybody's ability level. I think that's critical to every position, but the quarterback position especially. I tell the guys from day one, we can win games with any level, as long as you're above the line. There's a certain level that you can't, but as long as you're above the line, we can win games with any level of ability that's above the line. You just got to know how we're going to do it. So if you're a guy who can make the 60-yard throw, we can win games with you differently than we can win games with the guy who can only throw 4 yards. So Logan, number 8, had the 4-yard, right? Not the 40-yarder. Great kid, smart kid, get the ball out. We can win games with Logan, but it's going to look different. So you just have to be really honest and self-aware about what can each kid do. And as long as they know that too, and he doesn't attempt the 40-yard one, we're all good. So I do treat it differently in that sense. I might yell at him, not yell, but I might get on him about making a throw that I wouldn't say a word about if number 12 attempted it. Because he can do that. You can't do that. That's how I look at it. Yeah. Any other questions?
So I saw like a little bit in the film. Would you prefer, if you're a shotgun and talk about like open and close, would you prefer more like drop stuff, like a traditional 3-step drop stuff, or like a back pedal drop stuff?
Yeah, so I like the back pedal, especially to your non-dominant side. I did 1 year in 2018. I made everybody do it. I said, we're doing this, we're investing in this. And it went fine. But kids don't practice it coming into college. Most of them have never done it before. And it just wasn't worth the time. I had to spend so much time, teaching it, and they had to kind of unlearn the way they had done it. And there's so many other things at that position that I'd rather spend the time on. So the way I do it, and the way I try to approach quarterbacks in general, is I basically treat everything as a suggestion. A lot of my quarterback notes are, and I took this from a guy named Tony Rassiopi, who works with really high level guy. He trains a lot of guys for the draft and stuff. I said, Tony, how do you get these guys who are pros, who do it really well, to do it the way you want them to do it? And he said, I don't. I just suggest it, and they try it. And eventually they go, oh, I kind of like doing it this way, and then they do it. So I try and approach it that way with them. You know, I would never tell a kid you have to backpedal drop, but I would tell a kid, hey, when you're throwing left, like just humor me, man. Just for a day, I know it's goofy, but just humor me. Try backpedaling to it today, see how it feels. And the first couple of times he hates it. And then after that he starts to go, oh, I can see much better doing it this way. So I really like it, but I don't force them. I'd prefer if they did it to their left, but if they've trained it one way their whole life, I got to teach these kids the plays and the coverages, and I got a lot of other stuff to waste my time on, you know, other than that. But I do like it. Anything else? Cool. Well, thanks, guys.